not your normal podcast, people.
This is not your normal podcast,
Jared
people.
just said before, he's like, Mike, this is a normal podcast. I'm like, fuck no, it's not. I'm excited today, baby.
No, this is our official. This is our official first video podcast. We are going to do our best to not look in the cameras, Michael Pegger.
Look, I am looking in the camera right now.
Don't
But
do
the thing is, I am not used to having to give a shit what the fuck I look like for this podcast.
Yeah, for those of you watching at home, for as bad as we look right now, this is actually like...
This is presentable.
This is our Sunday best.
This is not so bad.
We walk in here sometimes just, oh, shit, you know, just
jogging pants.
Wake up or like coming home after the bar or some nasty Asian food or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, I usually say this is your podcast for March 14th, 2020. How the fuck are you doing? Happy March to you and yours from us and ours.
I keep forgetting that people can see what I look like when I'm looking at you like, when is that going to stop? When is his greeting of all of these people that he knows so personally going to stop?
Do you ever just start sentences and it's like you got no idea where the fuck you're going?
That all the time, dude.
But you know what? I always finish them.
Yeah, good. Good for you. I mean, they're not always your best sentences, but you gave your all.
I never go, never mind.
I've done it with recitative before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't remember where this is going, but I'm going to end up in some key. I think I remember which key. Look, that doesn't happen very often with me, but when it does, you're like, I can always see the end. I can't remember what the middle is absolutely like. And this happens. I had to jump in recently as Alma Viva and Barbiere again, right? And there's a fuck ton of recitative in that.
Sure.
And there was this one section at the beginning of the second act, or whenever I come in at the beginning of the second act, that there was just this one section where I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember this text. That text is there, but I can't remember this gray area.
Yeah.
So I did something like what I did was I started in the key so that the person, because I couldn't communicate with the person playing the cembalo down in the pit or whatever, or the harpsichord, right? Couldn't communicate with them. I just stayed in that key, did a bunch of stuff in that key until I got to where I knew that I could modulate to the new key.
Yeah.
And it worked like a fucking charm, dude.
Well, I mean, like, trying to have total control of what's going to happen on stage, I think is a bad move because you just can't. You know what I mean? You just can't. And it's like, you just have to accept the fact that you're going to jump into the abyss. And I've been backstage, like about to go on stage. I'm like, what the fuck do I say?
Yeah,
you know
and
what I mean?
look, this plays into the idea that a lot of people have about singers being dumb, not being able to control this. I gotta say, so that stereotype is out there. Not completely undeserved, but there is one thing that nobody really, that like all of our colleagues in the orchestra don't quite understand, and that is all the different aspects that are going on while you're singing. You're not just doing your instrument, but it's the fucking scene. It's the fucking costume. It's the this. It's the that.
Well,
There's
man,
so much.
Let's get into it. But I'm feeling a bit thirsty, Mike. Do you think we could maybe do that before we get started?
Look at you. You're a segueing son of a bitch,
I'm
too.
a segueing son of a bitch.
The other thing is they just saw these chicken wings.
Yeah,
which
you guys
happen by themselves sometimes, but no one ever sees them.
Plus, we've never had pencils before, and now we do, so that's just going to be a visual problem
before
for us.
Before we started, Jared had a pencil, and I'm like, you know what? I want a pencil, too. If you're going to have a pencil, I want one. It looks more official.
Well, for those of you watching at home, we usually write on the desk. While Mike's
Are you going to do the Bob Dole?
While Mike's getting...
Bob Dole, you got the pencil in your hand.
Be careful not to do too much to the cameras, because also the goal of this, just to bring everyone up to date, is that we always want the podcast to be a podcast. You don't have to watch it, but if you do want to watch it, then we're going to put this on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to us, and then just check it out if you want to. But otherwise, it's just these video podcasts are intended to be
right. But
podcasts.
that was not a camera specific thing.
No.
People can understand Bob Dole, pencil in the hand, and the Bob Dole without seeing it. So I did one for both. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, for older listeners, they know Bob Dole. I guarantee the young people don't.
We've got a beer from you again from Butler Brew Works, because when I went there, the beer was so good, I just bought a whole bunch of them and brought them back in the suitcase. Right. This one is for all of you people who have been waiting for so long. God. We've been promising for basically 2.5 years to get video involved, and today's the day. Yeah. Today's the day. And finally, look, you guys can see this. If you're watching here, which, by the way, go to YouTube, give it a like. Give it a like because this is our thing now. Every once in a while, we're going to give you one of these. You can see, finally, this burnt wood logo that we did that took forever and stole my fingerprints off my fingers.
Yeah, maybe I'll give that a zoom.
Give it a zoom.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was in the middle of the beer introduction. This is for all of you guys. Its name is Patience and Perseverance.
Nice.
Which is what we did, dude.
Yes.
We were patient, so were you guys, and we persevered.
Yeah.
This is, again, Butler Brew Works. Check them out.
Okay.
This is an ale. This is from 2018. Ale aged in red wine barrels with. Oh, how the fuck do you say that?
What do you see? This ale aged in red wine. I got no good. I got no idea. I have no idea, man.
Britannimus.
We're all going to learn right now.
Oh man!
The other big news
that makes me feel like an idiot. I could have practiced that.
The other big news that I don't know if we've said yet on the podcast is we finally got internet down here. Hold on, let me see the word. I'm going to look up a pronunciation for a second. Let me see the word. Turn it so I can see it. Mrs. Okay, I didn't know what that is.
With a Y-C-E-S at the end. M-Y-C-E-S.
Pronunciation. Okay, you ready for this shit? God, the internet down here is lightning fucking fast.
Brettanomyces.
Nope.
I think...
Brettanomyces?
This is the world of the computers.
Yeah, let's get a second opinion. It's always good to get...
Brettanomyces.
Just fuck it, man. You try to learn something and just the world shits on you.
Do you guys see in the video? It has that beautiful Maker's Mark.
Peel that rubber, dude.
Or wax.
Peel that rubber right off.
Peel the rubber off.
Anyway, so Mike's popping this open here, and this is brewed in wine barrel, so I expect a winey.
Or aged in a wine barrel.
Let me check.
Patience and perseverance, people. I'm so happy to be, now that you can see my ugly fucking face.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, my wife had to put up with it for so long, and now you guys get to also. Oh, I can smell it, the duft. Duft.
Puffed. Before we get started on our topic today, something I've been seeing a lot on the internet, which I'm not sure how I feel about, so I want to get your opinion, Mike.
All right.
Hold on. Let's cheers it up here.
Cheers it up.
Cheers.
Cheers to you guys, too.
Here's to all you
drinkers. Here's to all you drinkers.
It tastes like beer, but it smells like wine. Like that whiskey one we had on the other podcast.
Really nice.
That whiskey one was rough, though, dude. I
liked it, though.
I was wiggling the way home. Anyway, something I've been seeing on the internet lately. Oh, what? You got something you want to say about the bottle?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's do this. What do you think of that?
Should I get it up? Oh, yeah. Right. Plugging her away. Anyway, what did you want my opinion on?
So I've been seeing a fuck ton lately on the internet of these raise awareness of the arts, 10 pictures in 10 days posts.
I was tagged in it a couple times.
Yeah, I have too, and I've never done it. But it's like that's fine. That's fine to do it. But does that have anything to do with raising an awareness of the arts?
Well, okay, mostly not, because where people were doing it. Where they're doing it is on social media channels.
Yeah.
A lot of people's social media channels now are straight echo chambers.
Yeah.
They don't, oftentimes, I know so many people who they proudly admit, people who I don't agree with, I defriend or block them or mute them, right?
People proudly say that to you.
Yeah.
He was posting some bullshit, so I unfriended him.
How often
it's not
have
what
you
you
seen,
think.
How often have you seen people say, I'm cleaning house here. If you made it to this post, then you're one of the lucky ones. I can't take any more of this shit.
Sure,
and I'm like,
sure.
Come on, people. I know there are people with ideas out there that don't agree with your don't jive with your ideas, but you should be able to hear them again without having to block them or whatever. I'm guilty too, so I don't want to seem higher or holier than thou. But what I'm saying is that when we do these artist challenges, most of the time, the people who are seeing it, because these social networks are set up kind of as echo chambers or to react
it's
or
like
to
other
give
artists.
you more of what you want, they're mostly other artists.
Yeah,
there are different ways to do it.
That's the thing I feel too. Is of course the obvious thing is it's a nice way to do the old humble brag. You know what I mean? It's like you have a purpose for what you're posting, so it's like you get to like crank out fucking 10 photos of yourself performing. But then my thought was exactly what you said too. It's like because people have refined their social media channels so much, like the home pages and the feeds that they're seeing, that it's like you're just kind of bouncing it around to like other artists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, like, there must be...
There's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to seem too cynical. You doing that is not hurting anybody, and there definitely are people seeing it who think, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, of
who
course.
Didn't think that before.
Of course.
What I'm saying is the impact is less than one would think.
Well, what I'm saying, too, is instead of just jumping on a trend, it's like, actually, there is probably a better 10-day challenge out there. Maybe I'll think about it. Maybe I'll try to create one. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because like, there's got to be like a way to post like someone who doesn't know anything about singing, or like post 10 photos of you talking to someone about opera or some shit. You know what I mean?
Not bad.
Something like that. Where it's
not bad.
Like something like that. Like
post a short 2-minute conversation that you have with somebody about opera.
Yeah, something like that.
Or sit down and show them your favorite opera clip and see how they react. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, like a TikTok like length video, you know, where it's just like, hey, what do you not like about opera? And they say like, it's fucking boring, man. Cut. Like just like share someone's opinion on opera, or like
I like
have
it,
a conversation.
That's
that more of a challenge
because
man.
That's a diagnostic tool that we have then. Like when you if you were to go to somebody and say, what exactly is it that you do not like about opera? First, find out if they like opera or not, right?
Yeah.
But what is it? What stops you from approaching it? That helps.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I ask people that all the time, and they say something that you can easily refute with your knowledge of an opera singer. You're like, yeah, but that's because of this. And they're like, oh. And then they're kind of like they hit a wall because like they're like, okay, I guess that makes sense. And you're like, let's go to the opera, buddy. Yep. You know what I mean? I don't know. So I was just thinking about that. I had nothing to think about it.
That's interesting, though. That I think coming up with your own is also a good idea. I hate to say it. I do agree with you. I think I hate to say it. I finally agree with you. No, I mean the humble brag portion of it, aspect of it, is pretty evident.
That's what's hard about a lot of things in the world. There's a lot of words and like actions and movements that come out, and the initial reason and purpose for them coming out is really valid and important, but then they get morphed and people start to use them to kind of promote themselves and their brand or something like that.
Right.
And then the original thing gets lost. I mean, that's the problem with like politics and everything. You know,
you're a hypersensitive sensitive person to that, though. You do not like shameless self-promotion. You like genuineness. One of your big things is you want Jared. Whenever we're discussing things like this, right, for Sex, Drugs, and Opera, the one thing he comes back to it has to pass a litmus test for Jared, and that is how genuine of it. How genuine of an action from our side is it?
Yeah.
I mean, are we just trying to get likes, or what is this?
Well, and it's like,
I like that. That's honest.
People write these passionate fucking posts about the arts with like capital letters and shit, and it's like here's a picture of me like fucking singing this role, and they're like, the arts is so important, and people should know about the art. But it's like I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of bored old people in a retirement home down the street from you that you haven't sung for free for yet.
Good.
You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of kids that you could go write one email and they would be like, yes, we would love for you to come sing to the kindergarten. Why don't you do that 10 times and post it on the internet? Huh?
Yeah, you don't even have to be part of a young artist program. You need to know a pianist with a portable piano.
I did this, and I had an ulterior motive. But like when I was like 20 years old, I wanted some voice students. And so, I mean, it's like it wasn't manipulative. It was like a fair trade. I was like, I would like to come perform for your choir. And then I would just like to tell them I teach voice lessons.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the agreement. She was like, sure. Came, sang for the choir. Oh, and I gave like a little like kind of masterclass thing. Like they sang, and I gave some tips or whatever like that. My master's, I must have been 22. And she said, yeah, for free. Yeah, come on by. Like if you wrote an email to a kindergarten or a local like middle school and you were just like, hey, could I come sing for the kids? They would say yes every single time.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Look, and we that's doing it for free is something that we're also all about. I mean, come on, Sex, Drugs, and Opera, one of our points is, one of the things that is a goal of ours is to keep the main podcast free.
Keep it free.
Period. That anybody can listen to it. It's something that, you know, we want people to, I don't know, fuck it. We just want people to listen to us because we think that the idea is
well, we believe in it and we want it to be out there.
Right.
And the other thing that, and I want to get to our topic, so I'll wrap this up. But the other thing that I think a lot of singers don't do these days, or musicians, or just people in the industry, is if you believe in it, just do it whatever you can in your power. If you think people should be doing this in the arts, then why don't you go do your version of it? You know, don't wait for someone else to like collect you as part of their group.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to talk about what should be happening, and it's a much more difficult thing to do it. Like, and you could do it, but come on, get out there and fucking do it.
That's what I'm saying. All right, so this beer is delicious. I'm getting pumped up already. How strong is this shit, dude?
Delicious, 9%.
9%. God, these are all strong.
I know, dude.
Woo! It's like fucking 10 in the morning. On a what day is it? Like Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
Like a 10 a.m. Wednesday, drinking the old Patience and Perseverance.
Walking down the street.
I would love to make a beer, but it's like you have to do it on such a large scale.
An
otherwise,
SDAO beer.
I would love
I
to.
like it.
We could make like a single brew. We have room back there. We could brew a beer. Why not?
The room that we have back there, we could get a big barrel.
Yeah, man. What would you want? I'd want something dark.
I guess, yeah.
Nah, see, there's
I'd
the problem.
A nice IPA, but you can do a dark.
We could have
IPA.
a brew off, maybe. Oh my god! Ah, Jesus Christ! We could.
I want it. I want it. I've never brewed before. I've always wanted to.
They have kits online, man. We could get like 2 things of beer back there, and then we could also get like some magic mushrooms growing at the top. Like,
oh my god, yes. Look, we can talk about this sort of stuff now.
Yeah.
Fucking mushrooms are legal in a lot of places. Psilocybin is legal now in a bunch of places, and everything I've heard about it is like, you gotta fucking try it. Yeah. It changes the way you think, changes the way you see the world, and I don't know what people, I don't give a fuck what you all think about it. I'm telling you what I think about it, and that is, I don't give a fuck what you put in your body. You could put in your body whatever you want. Your body isn't my body. You do, and that's not hurting me.
Right.
So I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So go, do it, whatever.
All right.
And I want to try fucking shroomies.
Well,
mushy roomies.
Flights are cheap right now because of the coronavirus. We could like book a flight and go.
Is that why they're cheap?
Oh, cruises are cheap as hell right now.
Yeah,
dude.
sure. Because
you
of
and I could take a 7-day cruise for like nothing,
dude. So I saw this. Just to go a little bit further off topic. What was it? The Queen Mary or something? That was the I can't remember.
That was parked off Italy or whatever.
Japan, I think, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Whatever. So they, in the statistics for countries, right? They have all the statistics of people who, like population, people infected, and people who died, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
They have all of the statistics for all the countries, and then the World Health Organization, they had a separate statistic for that one cruise ship because they handled it so fucking poorly. Instead of putting individuals in quarantine, they just kept people on the boat.
Everybody.
There were something like 700 cases. 700 cases because they're like, no, you can't leave the boat. Boats are already basically fucking huge floating petri dishes.
Yeah.
And because of that, in the statistics, a boat has the fucking is given the same priority as a fucking country because it was such an outrageously mishandled case.
Jesus Christ.
Really, really crazy.
I mean, pandemics and shit, that's the type of stuff that like people you never think about that until it happens, and then
By the way, people, there was this stat saying something like 38% of people, or 38% of Americans won't buy Corona beer because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's a complete bullshit stat. Look, it came out with fucking New York Times, with fucking CNN, MSNBC, Fox. They all ran with this stat.
Mm-hmm.
I read something about it yesterday. The fucking people who did that poll, which wasn't a poll, will you not buy Corona because of the coronavirus? No. That's in the fucking poll they did. Yeah. They said, how often do you buy... how many people would not buy Corona beer under any circumstances? And there were other things involved in this thing.
Right.
Then they didn't mention coronavirus in that question at all.
Yeah.
Coronavirus came fucking later on the same thing, but not. And the survey wasn't about coronavirus at all. It's a completely manipulative stat.
Well, I feel like today, I mean, to go back to what we talked about.
It paints Americans as dumbasses. You know?
Yeah, but like all media is like that. Like whatever clickbait thing is going on in the world, whatever trends there are, they're gonna lean into that. You know what I mean?
I know. I just had to defend Americans yesterday because
I know, but with I don't like it either. Hold on. I don't like it either, but with Trump and everything that's happened lately, like at least Mike and I living in Europe here, there is kind of a global joke of Americans being dumb, which that's been going on for a while. So I get why that happens, but in the world of social media today, there is also this like necessity of being the first, being the fastest to get the story out.
Absolutely.
And that makes the fact checking more difficult to do. And also, anyone can make a fucking logo. Anyone can make a website and a blog, and it's really hard to see through the brand. It's so easy to create a brand for something now. Do you know what I mean? And like you can make a really
we did it.
Yeah, but
if we could do it,
but I could make a really official. And I know people who have like blogs and stuff like that, and people we've worked with. And it's like it's just some dude in his kitchen. Anyone can do it. You know what I mean? Everything we've created is just me in my kitchen, like smoking a cigarette at 4 a.m, like fuck man, like half drunk. Like if I can do it. Anyone could do it, you know? As like these fucking news stories. Like I saw this story. It has nothing to do with coronavirus, but a kid put these like I can't remember what they're called, but there's like these gel balls in his bathtub, and they said
I saw the video.
But they said, and there's been a bunch of videos, so I don't know if it's the same one, but they said that when he released it and drained them, it like ruined the whole city's sewage thing.
Yeah.
And like the mayor of this French city was like, no, like everyone has their own private thing. Of course, we have ways of preventing like the problem in one like house's plumbing to the other ones, but like many stories like Unilad, Lad Bible, 9gag, everyone like just kind of shared this thing like French YouTuber destroys his whole city's plumbing.
Well, the thing
with
about
the
it is I watched that video.
Yeah.
It was clearly a fucking hoax.
Yeah.
It was clearly staged.
Yeah, of course it was. But like it was like all these like 9gag has like how many like millions and like fucking 200 million followers. I don't fucking know, shit ton. And they're just like French YouTuber ruins his city's. They just put this fake shit out there. Yeah, I mean the fake.
Because they don't care about the
news,
consequences.
Man.
The important thing is getting those fucking clicks.
Well, and this old fucking adage of like, what is it? Like all publicity is good publicity.
Yep.
It's kind of true, man. Because this dude is gonna be famous, and like, look at Kim.
He already is.
Look at Kim Kardashian, dude. Made a sex tape, and now she's worth something like $100 million or something
way
like
more,
that.
Dude.
Is it more? Maybe it's
definitely
$1 billion
more.
or something.
Her sister. Which one is it?
She is.
She's a billionaire.
Yeah, she has one sister that is richer than she is, but of that group, Kim's number 2, and you're right, it is something like $500-600 million. I'm sure
it's a lot.
And no one knew who she was. I believe people knew before Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner. They knew Bruce Jenner, but like Kim Kardashian was not known, right?
No.
And I'm pretty sure the sex tape was the first thing she did, and then that led to the reality show, which led to all the branding and everything. But I would say that whole family is kind of rich off of her sex tape. Isn't that where it all started?
Bruce / I'm sorry, Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
She's Caitlyn now. That whole thing started with her. And then, did you know that Kardashian was involved as a lawyer in the fucking O.J. Simpson trial?
Who?
Kardashian, the one. Oh God, I'm pretty sure the father was one of the lawyers in the O.J. Simpson
I did
trial.
Yes. There is a bunch of drama there because there is this thing of like Kim Kardashian's mother sitting in the background.
Exactly.
And like there's some sort of thing. The point is like it's all bad publicity, man. Like all the fucking sex tapes and murder trials and shit. But they're famous as fuck and rich from it. And people shit on the Kardashians all the time, but they're rich as
my wife.
Fuck, man.
My wife. No. Actually, I'm gonna defend the Kardashians here.
I didn't say anything bad about the Kardashians.
I know. I'm just gonna put a hand out to them.
All right.
My wife. I said that to my wife. How can? Oh my God! It's so stupid. Talentless fucking people getting rich like this off of just the stupidest shit. She's like, Michael, no. She said, no. There are all kinds of people who gain that kind of fame.
Yeah.
And very few of them do anything with it.
That's true.
These people did all kinds of stuff with it.
Yeah.
And they have sustainable empires now. They're not, the one didn't become a billionaire because she has like makeup lines and stuff like that. She didn't have to do that. She could have sat on her laurels, but she didn't. And she kind of shut me up real quick about that.
And it's true. And the point I was making is that even if it all stems from the sex tape, it led to something. So the French guy with this fake news story, everyone knows his name now, and his channel, at least for a week or two, is going to get millions and millions of people looking at it. And if he capitalizes on it, you know what I mean?
But most likely they won't. I mean, for instance, the statistics of people who win the lottery who are broke within years.
Yeah, of course,
is just ridiculous.
But what I'm saying is you can get visibility for a moment, and then you have to say something really fucking fast. But something bad will still give you visibility. Like there was that guy that created that Instagram channel with an egg, and he said, "Let's make an egg the most liked picture on Instagram." Yep. Remember that?
Yep.
And it fucking crushed. It was the most liked picture. And then he created like some series of pictures of the egg cracking. And then when it cracked, I can't even remember what came out of the egg, but it was like some sort of charity or something like that. So like good for him at least. But you had the whole world looking at you for a moment. That's an opportunity to do something. You know?
I wish the world would look at us.
I wouldn't be ready. What would I do? I'd be like, oh man. I'd be like, hi. I'd be like, I like beer, talking about opera. Fuck, man. I like writing dick jokes and putting it into songs. All right, let's get to our topic. We're already 25 minutes in here, man. Mike and I, we were having a conversation that we wanted to talk about this.
I tried to transition into this topic earlier.
I know.
You didn't let it take.
I know, because I had to get this other stuff off my chest. There's a stereotype out there of the dumb singer. Mm-hmm. The dumb singer, man. And most stereotypes have a touch of truth to them. But there's also got to be a reason for that. There's got to be a reason it exists. Have you had this said to you before? Have you ever felt like the dumb singer?
I've never felt like the dumb singer.
No?
Well, I felt like the dumb singer by how people treated me, and then they recognized that I wasn't the dumb singer. I'll tell you why I'm not the dumb singer. Mm-hmm. And this is... Okay, like I said, some stereotypes exist for a reason, and we here at SDAO Labs have been trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with this, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have a theory as to why it exists?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like everything. And we've touched on these topics so much on the podcast. I think it's like groups, collectivism, this stuff. But I thought it's just a misunderstanding. You know, it's like people sit down in the pit and they have their vernacular and what they prioritize in music. You know what I mean? And then we're up there on the stage and we have a different list of priorities up there.
I guess, but so you're an instrumentalist too.
Sure.
I mean, I was a violinist. You played every fucking instrument known to man, basically, and still do.
Yeah.
You have definitely and clearly a much higher musical knowledge than the average singer, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Although if you were a gay guy, you'd be considered a bear, right?
We talked about this with someone the other day.
I wouldn't be considered an otter. I was told I'm a twink. I'm a straight up twink.
I might be a bear.
But you're bear. I mean, if you can grow a beard in 32 hours, like a full-fledged beard, then you're a bear. Can
somebody write in and let us know?
Show them your chest.
We have a video here.
Show them the fucking like Shetland wool sweater that you wear all the time.
Do you know how much of my life is spent manscaping, dude? It's like it's incredible. It's a big waste of time.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Because you get hair removed, but you can't get it stunted. You know?
How often do you have to shave your neck?
My neck?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like down there, like on your Adam's apple every day?
Yeah, I mean every time I shave.
So this is why. So
every time I shave, I would like pull down my collar and get the werewolf shit, so that to hide the secret.
I thought that you.
What ladies are doing in the winter with their legs, I'm doing with my chest and back, man.
Every day.
Yeah. I get my back. Dude. I get my back waxed, man. Why do all these waxes?
You get your back waxed?
Of course I do, man.
What, like that?
Yeah, I'm not an animal.
You might be if you do that.
I would shave my back, but I can't reach most of my back.
I bet
there would just be a circle of hair in the middle.
Couldn't you just get like an extender for the razor and go like?
I saw a thing online once. It was called like the bear razor, and it was like it looked like an ice scraper, right? It was an ice scraper, but it was a blade, and I don't know if it was a. That's not what it was called. I don't think
the bear razor is a great one.
That's not what it was called.
That's what it should be called. Invent that shit, dude. You're a fucking millionaire.
Well, and it was the size of an ice scraper, and I don't know if it's real or not. Right? There's the thing is, it might have been a joke because I saw it before I needed it, but. Yeah, something like that. A telescoping fucking thing that I could just like peel myself like a potato.
In Pittsburgh, there's this radio station called WQED.
Yeah.
WDVE.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a rock station, and they had they had a morning show, and they came up with this thing called Tampax.
Okay.
It was a skit that they did, and it's a Tampax, but for a man's ass crack when they sweat. When they have ass sweat.
The swamp ass.
Yeah,
dude.
swamp ass. It's a Tampax for swamp ass, and it's called Tampax.
That's good, dude.
And I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But there are definitely people who would buy it.
Oh, sure, man.
Definitely.
All these things that people think are funny, like they have these things that you can wear around your thighs that connect to your shirt to keep it like tight. I'm like, I want to buy that. I want that.
So anyway, dumb singers.
I honestly don't know how we transition from there to here.
Okay, so here's what I was going to say. You're a musician. I'm a musician, right? I actually think I'm not necessarily of your opinion that it exists just as a miscommunication.
Okay.
There are a lot of singers who their voices came to them. They knew they could sing. They knew they had talent from a pretty young age, and they pursued it, right?
Yeah.
When you are a singer, you're not practicing. You are practicing different things on a daily basis. And because of that, you're not stuck with an etude book like that where you're like, fuck, I have to do that again. I have to do these scales for 5 hours a fucking day. When you do those scales, you have a much, just in studying scales, you have already a much wider and better ground understanding of musical structure than you do if you don't study them.
Yeah.
And singers don't study them.
No.
They study songs, they'll study scales, but they're not necessarily, it's not necessarily, oh, here's what E flat major sounds like. No. Our pitch whenever singers just kind of, unless you have perfect pitch or something like that, you just switch between scales and it's not an issue. It's just the pattern that happens. But it's not like that for an instrument. When you do that, there's a different feeling in your fingers. There's a different thing, and you're like, oh yeah, A flat major is particularly hard. What? Not for a singer.
Yeah.
Not for a singer unless they hit a high note or something like that.
I see what you mean.
Which means that in the training, there is a certain amount of high musicality that is naturally built into studying an instrument that is not naturally built into studying voice.
Yeah. Okay.
And I tend to think that has something to do with oftentimes the singer's lack of understanding of what an instrumentalist would consider basic musical knowledge.
Now,
if I might play the devil's advocate.
To yourself before I have a chance to...
No. To the topic, of course, of singers maybe lacking some things that instrumentalists have.
Okay.
I know I'm going to get a lot of shit from singers. Whatever.
No, it's fine. No, I get what you're saying, though, because, and just to like put it into other words maybe, it's like if I sing something in D flat and I want to sing in E flat, I just put E flat in the piano, I sing in E flat.
Right.
But as a pianist, first off, to do that in your mind, you know, because my voice students, they always come in here and they always find chords online to a song they want to sing on the radio, and it's never the same key. Because always they bring me guitar chords that have a capo. It's like capo 2, but I'm sitting at a piano, so I'm like, fuck, now I got to transpose everything down a whole step from what I'm fucking seeing. You know what
exactly.
I mean? And it's way more difficult than it's for them. Or a singer will bring me something and they're like, I want to sing Pink. And I'm like, great. Like, let's see how it goes.
What do you
and
mean
it's too
Pink?
high. The singer Pink.
Okay. First off, I have no fucking idea who the singer Pink is. Pink is a color.
Oh my god.
Pink is way a fucking color, dude.
Oh god, dude. Depeche Mode was okay, but Pink, dude. Pink is like super fucking famous.
Pink
man.
Floyd? I know Pink Floyd.
Oh my god.
I know fucking
You know,
Pink
I didn't
Floyd.
even ask you if you know Pink. You do it to yourself. You know, you volunteered the fact that you don't know
you're
Pink.
saying a color and expecting me to associate it with something. I want to sing Pink.
All right.
Wonder what the color Pink sounds like.
Pink, I think her real name's Alicia Moore. Pink is a singer, okay? And
like nowadays.
You're right now. She's huge in Germany, dude. She's one of the biggest. Like you drive now that we've talked about Pink. When you drive home, you're gonna see like 5 signs for like Pink in Frankfurt, Pink in like Stuttgart, Pink in Mannheim.
Yeah, that's normally how it works. Every time you mention something to me that the rest of the world knows and I don't.
So they'll come in here and they want to sing Pink, and it's like too high for them. And I'm like, all right, let's bump it down a half step. Let's bump it down another half step. They can just do it, but for me to do it on the piano is an extremely different process. They're beginners and they can do it, but I needed years of education to be able to just bump it down into another key.
You can play the piano well. Take one of the, let's do the quote-unquote dumb singers, right? All of them had to study piano whenever you study, right? How much easier is it to do a scale in C major than in basically any other key?
Sure.
Than in any other key. Like you can do that because all the I mean, it's just right there. They're all white keys. It's one right after the other. It's not a fucking issue, right? But if you do it in any other key, automatically there's something new about it, and your musicality increases whenever you are able to more competently do that.
Yeah.
And my thesis is that a singer, unfortunately, has to do much less of that theory whenever singing than an instrumentalist does. Plus, they don't. Yeah, you sing in a choir. You sing in a choir, but it's not quite the same as playing in an orchestra. I can say that because I played in an orchestra. You played in an orchestra.
Yeah, sure.
It's a different bear altogether.
It's a different thing too. I mean, and it's like when you're students. When I finish my master's, we're probably actually all more equal at that point. Because it's like you've had theory for years and years and years. You're reading music every day. You're doing rhythms. You're like learning about tempo markings and like all this stuff. Like you're looking at it. I think we're more even. But once you go into the professional world, which I mean, you and I have been out of university now for like 10, 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you retain what is necessary for your day-to-day. You know what I mean? And me and you, our day-to-day is when I read the music, I do I look at the orchestral stuff, I look at all the markings, I do my best. But then when rehearsal times comes, when the maestro, when he's like, do this, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. And I'm like just following what he's saying, and I stop looking at music. But when you're an orchestra person, you are looking at music, and you are performing in the orchestra with way fewer rehearsals.
Oh, way fewer.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
you and I, like, if we do a show, we're like 6-week rehearsals, and then we are doing every fucking show. But there's usually 2 or 3 different, different like casts, what you call them in the orchestra. I can't think of the English word. There's 3 different orchestras that are playing the show, 2 or 3 sometimes, and most of them had like 2 or 3 rehearsals. And so most of what they're doing is reacting to the conductor, but also like reading the music.
Yeah.
And they have to extract, or you look at a pianist during a fucking like audition thing where he's playing, or he or she is playing for like 200 singers. They are extracting information from the music rapidly. We don't have to do that.
No.
That rapid, like, I'm going to look at the harmonies. I'm going to reduce. You know what I mean? I'm going to like rip information out of the score immediately.
How often do you sing with music? Orchestra members play with music all the time, which there's the other way around also. Yeah. There's the other way around also. I memorize music every day, all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I fucking do. But I've seen orchestra members complain whenever they have to, like, if the staging requires some orchestra members on stage, they'll say, "No, I need my music stand there with the music."
Right.
Now, look, it's maybe wrong for a singer. It's maybe wrong for a singer to say, "Now wait a minute, why can't you memorize a little bit?" Right?
Yeah.
But then again, on the other side, it is wrong for an orchestra member whenever a singer fucks up.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know the music. What are you talking about? I don't have it. You have the music right there. You don't even have to. Yeah. You don't have. It's like Louis C.K. He did a skit once where it's like he got into an argument with his daughter, who he said she was shitty to him because he said, "Do you want some Fig Newtons?" And she's like, "It's Pig Newtons." He's like, "Motherfucker, I'm not even memorizing it. I'm reading it right there. It's Fig because I can fucking read, right? That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like an orchestra member, they have it right there, so there's no question what the note is. There's no question what comes next because they can see it.
Yeah, and what I have to say too is that like we're talking. Mike and I are obviously talking mostly about like opera, being opera singers, and our experiences of that. But some of the best musicians I've seen in my life are studio singers and pop studio singers, like backup vocalists for like a fucking Christina Aguilera album or some shit. There are studio singers that sight read shit to the wall every fucking time, one take.
Yeah, totally.
Mike and I know those people exist, so don't fucking write us in about that shit.
Oftentimes as opera singers, a lot of opera singers can be really shitty to people who sing in choruses.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in choruses who can sight read circles.
Yeah. So
circles around a soloist.
So the thing is, like, yeah, your background, I think you're right. The background in, like, if you're an instrumentalist, if you're looking at music, if you're being asked to sight read every day, and, like, all that stuff makes a big difference. But if we can talk a little bit about, like, just the different hierarchy of priorities, maybe.
Well, before we do that, I just want to say, if you are being or if you're wanting to be a singer, or especially if we have any really young people listening to this, which we fucking don't because they're not allowed because of that explicit rating right next to our goddamn.
Oh, Libsyn lets everybody listen.
Libsyn and Spotify. No, Spotify doesn't fucking check. So if you can watch on Spotify, maybe we end up on YouTube Kids. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can make that happen, dude.
We'll get kicked right the fuck off.
Get kicked right the fuck off. The fuck off. If you're listening, learn a fucking instrument. The best singing musicians that I've ever met are competent in instruments.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. And by the way, sorry, I know I'm taking a lot of time here, but the best instrumentalists I know can sing their line.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Like the musicality of feeling music oftentimes is only helped by being able to express it vocally.
Yeah, and most of life is like that. Actually, if you learn a second language, it's going to give you a way better perspective on your language, you know? In learning German and having to dissect that as a language, it's really forced me to understand a lot about how English works. Living in Europe has forced me to understand what being an American is, and learning an instrument and seeing the similarities of like, oh, this is what a guitarist does. You're gonna start to see similarities all the time. When I play guitar or piano or I sing, I'm like, these are all the fucking same.
Right.
Like how the vocal folds work, they're like strings, and what I'm doing inside is actually what someone's doing with their fingers.
Are they like strings?
The Stimmbänder, the vocal folds?
Yeah, are they like strings or
all
are they
sound
like
is like strings.
A reed.
Whatever, it's all a string waves back and forth.
Vibrating. But
a string does this, your lips do this, your vocal folds do this, like
a
reed does this.
It's all creating waves in the air.
That's what I mean. So then when you look at like the whole string's doing this and you do this to make the string shorter, and you look at your vocal folds and you do this to make them like what's vibrating, it's like it's all related, and you have a deeper understanding of it if you can look at it from a different perspective. You know, I have a different view on my life as an American having moved to Germany. Just like if you spend a world playing piano and you don't relate it to singing at all, you're going to start to have perspective as a singer. And to relate,
Go ahead. Keep talking. I want to read something. I want to read a quote that you just reminded me of.
Just to relate back to our topic, I think a lot of the time it's just a matter of a lot of people in the orchestra have never sung, especially not on stage, and a lot of people on stage have never played in the orchestra. So it's just a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Not to get too deep and let's all hold hands, but it's like
you're
the world's
dude.
It's the world's problems too, man. It's like you've never been to Europe and you're going to judge them.
Yeah. Look, so you brought it back to traveling.
Yeah.
But I think I think your comparison is really good. That it's about understanding other perspectives. Mark Twain once wrote this. He said, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be required, or cannot. Oh my God, can I fucking start over? This 9% is fucking kicking me in the dick. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime."
Yeah, I've heard that before. That's good.
I mean, it's good because it's like, all right, if you're a musician. So I recently assisted our conductor here at the theater on Bruckner 7. I was a conductor in college, so he asked me, can you sit in these rehearsals with me? Cool. So I did it, and God damn it, I'm with orchestras every day, but there's a whole new fucking perspective that you can get by sitting there and watching those rehearsals. Right. Here's my tip of the goddamn day. Okay. Ready? Go, if you're in a production, go to a rehearsal that you're not, ask permission, go to a rehearsal that you're not scheduled for the orchestra. Go listen. Take a full score. If you can get a full score of it, go look at it. See the complexity of it. You'll learn. Yeah. You'll have appreciation. You'll see what's going on down there in a way that you've never seen before. Because and you'll have a better appreciation of what a conductor has to do.
Yeah, of course. And so I mean, I agree with the points you made earlier about like just the origins of like the route you come up with as an orchestra member, as a conductor, as a singer. They're different, and that's where a lot of the like stereotypes and shit stem from, and this type of stuff. But also, to go back to what I originally said at the beginning of the podcast, I think there is a miscommunication of priorities. I think a lot of orchestra people don't even know what we're doing up there.
That's right.
They don't even know that, like, I am cheating out. Like, I am not trying to upstage my fellow singer. You know,
Right.
I am finding my light. Like, I'm acting. I'm, like, trying to emote. I'm, like, using props before I do any music, before I do anything with my fucking voice.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
It's funny because an orchestra member has the luxury, the absolute luxury,
Yeah.
whenever they sing a phrase, to think wholly
Yeah.
of the phrase and its musicality.
Yeah.
As a singer, or I would say, because you've often heard me classify myself as more of an actor than a singer, right?
Right.
As an acting singer,
Yeah.
I am rarely
Mm-hmm.
thinking even in a majority of the musical phrase.
Right.
There are some times when it's so difficult that that's what I'm thinking of, but most of the time I'm thinking, what's my body position? How am I emoting?
Yeah.
Like, that's really my main priority
Yeah,
all
but also,
the time.
and like in your mind, it's like, I think a lot of people in the orchestra don't understand. It's like you're doing the language. You know, you're trying to get every, fucking like crisp so people can understand what you're saying. I'm also thinking of what I have to do next.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have to prepare the thing. It's like, I got to put the glass there so they can grab it. Like, you're doing all that shit at the same time as trying to catch the orchestra, like trying to find your light. Like, it's like there is so much shit you have to do besides the music. And then at the end of the night, that fucking critic out there is gonna fucking judge the way
Oh
that
my God,
you're
don't even
fucking
get me started
legato.
on that.
You know what I mean?
Before the critic
Yeah.
comes, okay, here we go.
Okay.
Comes the conductor.
Yeah.
Coming to you, telling you what you fucked up.
Yeah.
Comes the musical assistant or the Studienleiter. I don't know what that is in English anymore. Like
musical
the head coach.
Yeah.
And then maybe other coaches
Yeah.
who have opinions. And then the director.
And then the singer's
and the director's
unsolicited
assistant.
opinions. Yeah.
And then the fucking singer's unsolicited opinions.
yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then in the later rehearsals,
Yeah.
you have the head of the opera company, you have the opera director,
Yeah.
you have the Dramaturgen, or whatever the fuck that's called in
I
English.
think dramaturg. I
Yeah.
think,
You have all of these people
Mm-hmm.
coming and giving you opinions basically simultaneously, or they're
Yeah.
waiting in line.
Mhm,
They're
mhm.
at least polite enough to not all shout it at you at the exact same fucking moment.
Yeah.
Orchestra members do not deal with that barrage of
No.
opinions coming on what
And-
you're doing.
And they actually rarely, at least my experience is being in like a pit member and stuff, like in my early days, is like you're rarely being called out as an individual. You know what I mean?
The
Like-
most
like-
polite way that it'll happen is, can I have the wind section?
Yeah.
Like the conductor will isolate, but in order to not be too brutal, it's not you play that now. Which that shit happens all the time for a singer.
Well, you're literally at a rehearsal by yourself with a room full of people looking at you, and they're like, "Can you fucking cry again, but not move your shoulders so much?" And you're just like, "Fuck, man," you know. All right, actually, okay, Mike. Actually, we need to move on. But I've really enjoyed talking about this.
Me too.
And Mike and I, we're going to finish up this podcast. We got a few things we want to get to here. But if you're curious about this conversation, we're actually going to continue this conversation immediately after we finish this podcast in our secret sponsor podcast.
That's right.
We have a secret sponsor podcast for those of you who don't know. Every podcast we do, we pair it with an equally long secret sponsor podcast of a similar or same topic. So today we're going to continue this conversation. And to get access to the secret sponsor section, you just have to join us on Patreon. And actually, we have 2 new sponsors to announce today.
Oh!
So the names, you see the names there?
Yeah, oh, am I doing it again?
Here's the
God
thing.
damn it.
You see those 2?
Yeah.
Look at them.
Oh, these aren't so bad.
All right, hold on. Let me get the music going for you, though. Okay. There you go, Mike.
We got the Anthony Benz. He is now sponsoring SDAO. Lottie Heckman also. So Anthony Benz, come on down, and Lottie Heckman. Heck, you're quite the man today, baby. Heckman, Lottie Heckman.
I thought you were going to do that shit in one breath, man.
Oh, I could have.
Anthony Benz and Lottie Heckman. I don't know if I've ever seen the name Lottie before.
Heckman.
Thanks a Lottie. I'm sorry, you heard that before. I'm so sorry. I had to do it. All right, let's
I
sing
love
this
it.
song. Okay,
Yes,
nice,
baby.
Nice. Good. Anthony Benz, Lottie Heckman, thank you so much for your support.
They are going to be able to hear the continuation of this.
Yes, I've sent you passwords to the secret sponsor section. Check it out. For our sponsors that are listening, we are working on getting individual logins for everybody. So for those of you who don't know at the moment, you have to, we give you a password, then you log into the section. You have to log in every time you do it. But we're actually going to go straight up Pornhub, and you get your individual username and password.
Every website.
I could have chosen any.
You could have chosen any.
I could have chosen any. None would have been. I mean, it would have been depressing. It's just like your student loans, you know? You log in and get fucked. Like, it could have been like that.
You don't get fucked on Pornhub, but you feel like it.
Yeah, but
you're actually getting fucked with your student loans.
Yeah. Oh my God. So.
Can I? Well. Let's not. I won't diverge right away, but remind me to come back to student loans.
Okay. Well, then let me just finish this up, guys. Thank you so much. For the rest of you, if you go to our website, click on the donate tab. We have we updated our Patreon page, our Buy Me a Coffee. You can make a one-time donation. We also added a whole tab now where you can see what it costs us to do the podcast. If you're curious how much a podcast.
That's interesting.
We broke down.
I was shocked by that.
We broke down our literal monthly cost of exactly what we pay every month to do this. We wrote down what we need to take it to the next level. And then on Patreon, you can also see how many people are supporting us. So you can just, it's all transparent. We want to be as transparent as possible. Check that out. You can also buy stickers to support us.
We're not fucking anybody when we get money. We're not fucking anybody when we get money. Like, this is all going to pay for the red that Jared and I are in.
If Mike and I someday made a profit on this, it would take a decade to pay ourselves back for this. Look, the last thing I'm going to talk about.
No, wait. Before you do that, I want to mention a really easy way. That people can fucking support us.
Okay.
You don't even have to give. You can give a minimal amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Go to YouTube and subscribe. Go to YouTube and fucking subscribe. You don't even have to hit the notification bell if you don't want. If that's not the way you consume the podcast, consume it whatever fucking way you want.
That's true.
Right?
That's
I don't
true.
give a shit.
That's true.
But go and subscribe.
Yeah.
Because we can't, like, we want to be able to get as much money for this thing as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys want to give it to us, awesome. But YouTube, if we can monetize this, it would be a big help. And if everybody who's listening to it was a subscriber on YouTube,
true.
It costs you nothing, and it would help us a bunch. Like some videos.
Yeah. It takes 2 seconds. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you follow us on YouTube,
thank you.
But if you do that, then you don't have to watch on YouTube. You don't have to consume it on YouTube. You will have access to our video podcast. Of course, we do these every couple podcasts now. Our mini operas.
That's the only place you'll find
them.
But
even if you, like you said, even if you silence notifications and shit, it's like. On YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers before you can even have a conversation about monetizing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it costs you nothing as a viewer, you know? I don't know.
Which the amount of F-bombs we drop, it's going to be questionable whether we can monetize. But we can't have like you said, we can't have the conversation until we get those. So
you can't even have the conversation.
People just go check us out on YouTube. Oh, I made the sign jiggle.
Don't
make that sign jiggle.
That shit down. All right, the last thing we do before we move on to our last segment of the day is, again, we would like to talk about an app that we've been using, Opera Radar.
I used it the other day.
Did you?
Yep. I got a friend to use it the other day.
Nice.
They wanted to go see Faust in Bielefeld.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. And they went through it. They went through the website.
And it worked well.
It worked well. They found it immediately.
So if you're on the video podcast, I'm showing this to the camera right now.
Do you want me to take it real close to the camera?
No, I can zoom. It's crazy. Technology's crazy, right? Opera. Here, I'll get our logo in the background too. There you go. That's the shot.
There she blows.
Anyway, Opera Radar. It's intuitive. You click search, rarities, premieres. You can find operas in your area, or you can search by opera if you want to know where they're showing your favorite opera.
If you're in Timbuktu and you want to see an opera, it's
and
on that goddamn
if you don't want to use the app, download it. And like Mike and I said last time, if you want to support the arts, buy your tickets through the app, and it costs you nothing. The tickets will be the same price at the end, but the creator of the app will get some help for that. Opera Radar, available on your app store today. Check it out, man.
Check it out.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. What are we doing again?
Oh, yes.
SDAO University.
Certainly.
Come in and learn some shit.
Very good, Jared. I'm about to write Attenborough a email and be like,
seriously, Attenborough, come on.
Could you do a voiceover for us, please? Support the arts. And just send me like a WhatsApp clip of you saying, come in and learn some shit.
Or SDAO University also. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's an opera fan. I bet. We could get Stephen Fry to do it. He's a huge opera fan. Huge opera fan, and I'm a fan of his. Dude.
So this is SDAO Uni. We don't do this segment so often, but it seemed fitting for today. We're having a conversation about like just this stereotype of singers kind of being dumb musicians. We talked a lot about it in the podcast leading up to this, and I think a part of it is just sometimes. Hold on, I got to burp so badly.
We need a burp button. We talked about this. We need a burp button.
Part of it is just I think sometimes not speaking each other's language, just like the real world.
Oh, Subway.
So do you want to go first or second?
Do you have a way to say that though? I don't know. I don't know what the actual words that they sing at the beginning of Lion King are.
It's like African, like some African.
I know.
language.
I don't know, but I say Sabueya, but I think it's
definitely not
Seguenya or something.
I don't know, dude.
I wish I knew. Anyway, go ahead. I'm just saying. I
Take
wish
you
I knew.
5 seconds to learn.
I know, but I don't.
All right, so I wrote down some shit I was gonna jam on. What do you got? You got something too?
I just have something I kind of want to test you on. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I don't mean to call you out, but
All
I
right.
couldn't do it. I tried to do it myself. I couldn't do it.
All right, man, bring it on. What do you got? What do you want?
All right, I'll bring it on. I'll bring it the F.
You're not gonna make me do re mi, are you? I'm not trying to sight sing for 10,000 people.
No, we're not doing that. I want to know how close you can get on beats per minute.
Oh shit, dog.
Because mine. Okay, let me tell you a trick. You want another trick? I gave a tip today. I'm gonna give you a trick now, right?
Yes.
If you want to know what a second is,
One
you
second.
want to orient yourself or
You're gonna
orientate yourself
Yeah.
on
Orient.
orient yourself.
The Orient
orientate-
is a place?
No, so if you want to align yourself to
Nice.
to a certain time, the best trick I've ever learned is this: 60 beats per minute or 1 second is John Philip Sousa.
You said this on the podcast before.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, look, but it's a slower tempo than I thought. Da, 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 dun,
Well,
da,
because you're
dun,
doing
dun,
it, you're
dun,
doing
dun,
halftime.
dun,
It's
dun.
120.
No, that's 6. No, it's 60.
John Philip Sousa is usually
Dun,
dun dun da 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 da. It's usually in 120. I
Well,
think.
whatever. If you do a measure,
Yeah, so you-
because
that's
it's
what I
in
mean.
2.
Yeah,
if
so
you
then
do
you
a
can
measure,
al-
then it's 60. Whatever.
So then you can also find like 30.
That is like the definition of
All right, give
6
me
one
the
way,
fun.
half a dozen
All
the
right,
other.
Whatever,
dude.
man. Give it to me. I'm ready.
All right, so here it is. What do you think? What do you think John Philip Sousa's 60 is?
What do I think 60 is?
Yeah. What? No. Not how many beats per minute, but which tempo marking is it?
Which tempo
If you had
marking?
to guess, which typical tempo
See,
marking
I
might
always
it be?
thought it was 120, man.
All right, well, give me 120 then.
I mean, Allegro is definitely too fast. Is it Andante? Is that what it is?
Nope,
Andante's
you were,
too slow.
You were actually right.
Moderato.
Allegro is right in the middle. Is 120 right in the middle.
Okay.
What I have here is 109 to 132 is a typical Allegro, right?
Okay. Boom. Got it.
Or Allegro Moderato is the top end of 120. They say
Okay.
Allegro Moderato is 116 to 120.
Snap, son. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But Adagio is 60.
Yeah, Adagio's slow. Adagio for strings, baby. Right?
That's 120. That's 60, and I was a little bit surprised that it's that slow. What do you think Largo is?
Oh, Largo's like the tempo marking.
Yeah.
That's really slow. That's like fucking, isn't that like 40 or some shit?
40, perfect. That's the lowest end of Largo. Man, you're
Okay.
doing really good at this. How about Vivace?
Well, it's fast as fuck. Is it like 304 fast?
No.
It's not that fast. No, that has a name though. That's Prestisi. That's Vivace's lively.
That's not even on
wait,
here.
Wait. Vivace's lively, and so that's got to be. Oh, that's got to be like 180 to 204 or some
It says
shit.
132 to 140 here.
Oh, I was too high. Too high.
Vivacissimo is 140 to 150.
Okay.
Presto is the one you're. Presto is fucking top end.
Okay.
It's top end, and even there, it's like top
Oh,
177.
I was thinking of something else.
300 something.
Yeah.
Is blazing.
Honestly, where my brain went is that's the beats per minute for the fastest flight of the Bumblebee by an electric guitarist.
Are you serious?
It's hilarious. You watch the video.
But look, you have an orientation.
Yeah.
Because you have some sort of instrumental
It's
background.
funny. He gets louder and faster and faster, and then the 304 is just like the metronome he's got is like, who's fucking checking this? But if you slow it down, he's got it.
It's funny though because you get to that shit
Yeah.
and it's like all the musicality is gone out of that piece. You know?
Yeah, then it becomes just like I don't know.
I told you
don't
once.
know what it is now.
There was that's the end of your quiz.
Okay.
You actually did really well.
Man,
you did really,
stressful.
really well.
I'm not good with the fast tempo markings because I don't write I don't write happy songs.
I mean, you
I don't write. No, it's true. I'm not doing like. I'm not doing any of that shit.
crippling depression will
And
do
so,
that
like
to
the
you.
slow ones, like I know I can tell you exactly what 30 beats a minute is because that's my heart rate.
I met somebody the other day, by the way.
Yeah.
Not met somebody. I talked to somebody. My very good friend of mine, Bethany. Right. If you're listening, Bethany, you're getting a plug on the show. She told me, she's like, Mike. She's an architect.
Okay.
What do you think the equivalent to perfect pitch is in architecture?
Being able to draw like a perfect circle or angle.
It's interesting. That's
Okay.
interesting. What she says is it's perfect proportion,
Okay.
which makes sense, I guess.
So like I draw like a house with a tree and I draw it big and it's like the same.
That's right. It's
Okay.
like it's you can just you can be able to. I guess she means from perspective also, because the tree will be a different size in a 2D. In a
Okay.
two-dimensional drawing,
Uh-huh.
it'll be a different size depending on the angle, how close you are to the imaginary house and everything.
Okay.
But she said that's her equivalent
Okay.
of perfect pitch, and she has perfect proportion, which I thought was interesting.
Huh.
You don't think of it. That's a spatial equivalent to something like perfect pitch.
Well, that segues nicely into my thing. Is
All
that
right.
I think a lot of I think we had spoken in the podcast earlier about like when you play an instrument, it gives you perspective on singing. If you speak another language, it gives you perspective on your own language.
Right.
And I think that a lot of the times when there's trouble of communication between groups, whether it's orchestra members and singers or like Germans and fucking Italians, a lot of times it's just the words people are using or
Right.
like the lack of understanding between each other. And with the strings, I think there's like extended techniques and stuff that I think an average singer doesn't need to know. Just like with us as singers, we have like voix mix or like all these things, coloratura, where it's like maybe not every musician needs to know exactly like what's going on, like with the cricothyroid muscle and shit. You know what I mean? But like a normal person should maybe know at least like head voice and chest voice, maybe, or like
Right.
what a recitativo is, you know? Like there's some basic things that maybe to have a conversation they would. So like I jotted down a list of some of my favorite string
Awesome.
techniques that I use. So first off, just there's a YouTube video I want to plug. There's this guy I found. If you Google or you on YouTube, you search for an introduction to violin bow strokes. This guy, and it's the Johnson String Instrument Incorporated. It's his video. It's 7 minutes long. It's short. And this dude just stands there and he says like, this is this technique. And then it zooms in. He demonstrates it slowly. Then he plays a quick passage. And there's not like a long drawn out thing. Like I fucking hate when I'm trying to learn how to do something on Photoshop. And some dude's like, hey, thanks for coming. Today we're going to, it's like, shut the fuck up, man. And
Do you know where I noticed that recently? I
What?
started cooking
Yeah.
more recently.
And people just
And
like,
people will write paragraph after paragraph.
I
and
don't
all
care where
wanna
the potatoes
see-
came from. How the fuck do you cook
I
it?
don't want to. I don't want to hear your personal journey, how you got to this fucking recipe.
And I found
what
a lot of-
see is the ingredients
Yeah.
and exactly what I have to do because I'm under the fucking clock
Yeah,
here.
man. And I found there's a lot of videos online of people being like, so this is
On
a
the
technique you can use. If you're trying, it's like, dude, just fucking show it. Just demonstrate what it is. I'll figure out what it's for.
Totally, dude.
Anyway, so
I dig it. I dig what you're saying.
so-
Concise. Be concise, people. When you speak, when you do anything, think of a direct route. Instead of a
well,
flowery
if you're
route.
doing a tutorial, like you and I with the podcast are doing a conversation, you know what I mean? But if you're explaining
There's
someone
no
to someone,
fat on this conversation.
there's some fat.
There's no fat. This is all absolutely fucking necessary.
When we talk about Forrest Gump, that's a bit of fat.
Whatever, dude. People, I
What's
had
happening right
people
now? This is
write
fat.
me.
We're
I had
sitting in the
people
fat right now.
because we're talking about technique.
All right.
I had people write me,
Yeah.
ask, "What's Forrest Gumping?" And I said,
Yeah.
"I guess you're gonna have to fucking listen to that." We educated people on Forrest Gumping.
What blew my mind is how many people have done it. I talked to all my friends, and I'm like, do you do this? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
What is that? All right.
People on crack must really know what it is, though, because they got all that energy,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, there's, of course, techniques with violin. It's endless, all the markings you have. But if you look at violin music or string music, sometimes you'll see, like, I'm not going to fucking test you because I'm not a dick. You'll see, like...
Sorry, dude. You probably could. I am a violinist, but go ahead.
But you'll see, like, sul tasto, which is, like, when you play over the fingerboard, and you're going to get a softer sound with fewer harmonics, right? Different than, like, if you have consordino, which is when you play with a mute, right? It's darker. Con leño. Leño is wood.
A lot of people might not know what a mute is, by the way. So I want
this little. Yeah, go for it.
It's this little rubber thing that if you look on a violin, you'll see it on the A and the D string on the other side of the bridge that you play from.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you can take it off of there, and it'll basically rest down on the tailpiece when you're not using it. And when you use it, you'll see them pick it up and put it on. What it'll do is it'll straddle the A and the D string and basically grip the bridge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what that does is it mutes the vibrations. It makes them much less prevalent.
Yeah.
You hear it all the time in pieces.
So they have like these markings you'll see sometimes called leño, which means wood, and this is when you play with the back end of the bow, or even maybe a curve where it's a lot of wood with some string, right? And like you don't need to know what these is, but it's like another one where you say like sul G or something. It's like play this on the G string. They'll specify the string to play a passage on because maybe singers don't know this, but if you play something high up on a thicker string, it's going to have a more intense sound than low down on a higher string.
Or a more mellow string, especially with the G, or a more mellow sound, especially with the G string. It's funny.
And I would relate this to like our mixture of how much chest or head am I mixing in the sound.
Absolutely, or darkness, chiaroscuro.
Yeah. So we talked about how it's like I could do like a head voicey lower note like before my prima passaggio, or I could do a chesty high note. It's like like different notes have different colors based on how much weight you're putting in it. And we can change the vocal weight with our muscles, but violinists, they of course have different strings that kind of represent like different vocal weights.
It's interesting. So if anybody's ever worked with an actual Italian if anybody's worked in an opera chorus with an actual Italian conductor or chorus master, they'll talk about cupo, right? They want cupo all the fucking time in these things, or not all the time, but most of the time. For instance, va pensiero, right?
Yeah.
You never want just a chorus just blazing with all the ping that they can get. It's always got this cupo, right? It's always got this cover that they want, this darkness, and that's basically the same thing as saying play it on the G string.
Yeah, but so you see there's relations between all this shit.
Absolutely.
But because of a difference of vocabulary, it's like people might not be able to have the discussion. But like if you sat down and a violinist talked a lot of this, I'd be like, yeah, I do that with my voice, man. I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a section in the Bruckner 7 that I was talking about that is that the first violins play specifically on the G string in the first movement, I think it is. So if there it is. Test yourself.
Yeah.
Go to Bruckner 7, listen to the violins, and see if you can notice a change in timbre.
No.
And you'll be able to understand it then a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
and understanding these techniques is not just like a tool you need to be able to have discussions, but actually it actually develops a deeper appreciation of listening to orchestral music because you hear these subtleties that maybe you didn't hear before. But some techniques, I think, so these are all extended techniques that I wanted to talk about, and there's hundreds of them, but just to demonstrate that there's things violinists are thinking about that we're not thinking about as singers, just like on stage, we're thinking about staging and they're not. So it's like, you can't be like, yeah, fuck them, I have to fucking grab shit up there. It's like, yeah, well, they're also like, am I playing with like 1 centimeter of wood on my bow, or am I playing with all wood? I'm like, they're also doing shit that you're not aware of.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
This
is SDAO Uni, though. I don't want to get too much of a discussion about it. But.
No, I know. I'm just saying, just to remember that in there, they still have the music in front of them that says Collegno, right?
Yeah, I know, but they are also doing like micro subtle things,
absolutely,
that you're not even aware of as a singer. Like you're not even aware of these like that, like if they're playing above the fingerboard or down near the bridge, or if they're playing with if you're doing like ditache or whatever this is, where it's like you're doing a separate bow stroke for every note, or you're doing like more of a legato, like you're pulling the bow once and doing these things. They're also thinking about this shit, like the direction of their fucking bow, and we're not aware of that, right?
That's right.
But definitely there's some string techniques that I think every singer should know. Like,
by the way, if you don't know what it is to play on the wood of the bow, one of the best examples is the Berlioz Symphonie Fantastique.
Yeah.
Listen to that. And I'm not even going to tell you where it is.
Yeah.
But I will say it has to do with the witch's fire crackling.
Yeah.
And he uses it. He uses it so effectively. You can hear it, and it like hits you.
Yeah. Well, I'll
go listen to that, baby.
This Collegno also a more immediate place you can hear it is like Holst Mars. the Bringer of War in the planets.
Of course.
There's like this shit they're
But
doing the
that's
bidding.
hitting it on there. What I'm saying is, in the other one, they actually play.
Oh, I see.
They pull the bow across the string
that's the
with
thing
the wood.
is within that one technique. There's also subsets of are you
Absolutely.
combining it with this like ricochet like technique where you basically use it like a drumstick. Usually you do that on the hair side, but you can also do it on the wood side. Anyway, as singers, I think definitely some terms that you need to be using if you're having a conversation with the conductor is like pizzicato, where they're playing with their fingers. I think every singer should know that term.
Sure,
Because what you don't want to talk to a conductor and be like, the section that's like plink plink plink. There's a word for that.
Yeah, you do. Okay,
Pizzicato.
so here's Jared trying to help you to not come across as a typical dumb singer. You're absolutely right. And that's one of the most prevalent. God damn it, I can't leave this goddamn.
Like all this like coleño stuff. It's like you don't need to do that shit. But like pizzicato, I think singers should know that. That's a string technique.
I think most people. Do you think the majority of singers don't?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I would agree that's one you should know.
Definitely.
I think article, when you go back to the bow, usually after a pizzicato section, is again
article. Yeah.
Is again something that people should know.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be a conductor. Like after the pling pling pling, when you guys are like, it's like there's words for that. Definitely like tremolo. Yep. I think tremolo is one that everyone should know when it's like. Yep. I did that pretty well, man.
Look, I gotta say, your tongue representations of all these articulations are actually really good. So if you did it to a conductor, they would 100% understand you. It's just maybe a little bit more sophisticated.
No, but the thing is like there's tons of them, and like you use the ones that you need in everyday life. But it's like when I used to teach English to people, I used to say a lot like. When you speak in a second language, and like you and I in German, you find your adjective that you like. And you're like, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. And you just stick to it. And if you never challenge yourself to broaden your vocabulary, then you'll never grow. Yep. You have to say, I'm tired, I'm very tired. No, man, I'm fucking exhausted. You're not very hungry, you're famished. And it's the same with things. Like every time you go like, the section that's like, squah, squah, like at the beginning of Psycho, squah, it's like, there is probably a name for that. Right. And just like we have the whole entirety of the internet in our fucking pocket. At least look it up. Look it up, and then the next time you have that conversation, just drop the word. And then you're like a more well-rounded fucking musician.
You're not doing it to look arrogant, is the other thing. What you're doing is, because I think oftentimes people are afraid of looking like they're just trying to say Stichwörter, fucking
like signal words or buzzwords.
They're just trying to do that to sound intelligent. That's not what it is. It's in an attempt to communicate more effectively with people who have different experiences.
Well, and people use them as buzzwords. Of course, I see it all the time. People that are using big vocabulary, but then it's like, what the fuck did you say? You know what I mean? But
if it's not a common vocabulary, then maybe it's not necessarily worth it.
No. But if you have something to say and you're talking to a conductor or a string player or even like another singer, if there's a word for it, use the word for it instead of like trying to describe it.
For instance, if you were to be talking to another singer and you're like, oh yes, it's where they go from pizzicato to arco, right? Then you'd be a bit of a dick.
You would.
Because it's not your common vocabulary.
Yeah, but that would be like if I was talking to an American and I said like, oh, I was at the Ausländerbehörde. It's like if I busted out a German word,
right.
I'd be like, that guy's a dick. But if I'm speaking to a German, it would be more effective.
Absolutely.
Just like if you're a string player or if you're a singer talking to a string player, and we're all about bridging gaps here at SDAO. We're talking about building bridges.
Bridging the fucking gas, bridging together, bridging
Anyway.
gaps. Hey, can I say something, by the way, because now we have video? I noticed something about springs. Like if you have a string and you tighten it, the pitch goes up.
Yeah.
If you have a string, or if you have this, now watch. It doesn't change the note.
Because the length isn't changing.
But the length is technically changing, but the spring, the length in the spring doesn't necessarily change. I need a physicist to write me in because, like,
for those of you listening, not watching, Mike is stretching the spring, but it's not changing the
pitch. It's not like a string. It's not like a string. There's something going on that I can't quite explain. I noticed it the other day. Like I had one of those lights, that has one of these arms. Like it's like one of these spring. How do you for the people who aren't watching, like
the Pixar light?
Yeah, like the Pixar. Very good. The Pixar light has those springs that keep it in the same spot. If you stretch out that spring, it keeps the same pitch as if you let the string loose or the spring loose.
I got to think about that.
Really interesting.
I got to think on that.
I know. See it? I'm not so fucking dumb, dude.
We end SDAO University today
with a question.
Why does a stretching spring not ring
Write us in, physicists.
in the same cling? I don't know. I can't do a fucking
I can't
poem.
fucking do it either.
Anyway, this concludes our flagship, I don't think that's the right word, our first SDAO video
Our
podcast.
inaugural.
I'm kind of in your shot there.
Our inaugural. Can I get in?
Yeah. Anyway, so for those of you listening at home on whatever you listen to, you can go check out the video podcast on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll see you in 2 weeks for a normal podcast. Mike and I are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to continue our conversation about singer stereotypes in our Secret Sponsors podcast.
Maybe even stereotypes in general.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We're going to record another hour now, but for the rest of you, enjoy yourselves. We'll see you in 2 fucking weeks.